You ever had one of those days that starts off so normal, so mundane, you'd never guess it'd end with a police report, a civil lawsuit, and a $50,000 settlement? Yeah, neither had I. But let me tell you about the Tuesday afternoon my wife got accused of stealing gas by our neighbor, a woman who, up until then, had only annoyed us with her bizarre HOA complaints and suspiciously timed yard work. That day didn't just change how I looked at her. It changed how I looked at the power of silence. And the moment you finally decide it's time to stop turning the other cheek. My name's Marcus Talbot. I'm a contracts attorney. Been doing it for 17 years. I don't do courtroom theatrics or criminal defense. My world is calm, meticulous, orderly, exactly how I like it. My wife, Diane, she's the heart of everything. Teaches second grade, bakes a mean peach cobbler, and still believes the best in people. Even when those people make a hobby out of criticizing our mailbox design or the color of our porch cushions. Which brings me to Marlene Cranston. If you ever met her, you'd know exactly who I'm talking about. She's the type that wears pearls to rake leaves, always smells faintly of eucalyptus, and walks like she's afraid the world might tip over if she doesn't keep it in balance herself. From day one, she had opinions about everything we did. Our wind chimes were excessively ethnic. Our kale was performative. And once she actually filed a complaint with the HOA because I mowed my lawn counterclockwise. I wish I were joking. Now, most of the time, Diane and I just smiled, waved, and kept it moving. No need to stir the pot. We figured she was just another bored retiree with too much time and not enough joy in her life. But what happened at that gas station? That crossed every line. And for the first time, I had to set aside my passive diplomacy and let the law speak louder than my patience ever could. It started simple enough. Diane had a half day at school and texted me to say she was swinging by the quick fill on Auburn and 12th to gas up. I told her I'd meet her at home, maybe take her out for an early dinner. I even left the office early, driving past the station just in time to see her standing at pump 6, humming to herself like she always does. And there, 2 pumps over, was Marlene. At first, I thought maybe she didn't notice Diane. She had that look on her face like she just smelled something offensive but couldn't place it. Her hands were flailing, her face flushed, and she was marching toward Diane with the determination of someone who'd just been personally wronged by gravity itself. I parked and watched for a second. Diane looked confused, holding the gas nozzle like a shield. Marlene was shouting, pointing at her car, and gesturing wildly at Diane's SUV. I got out of the car and started walking fast. That was when Marlene grabbed Diane's wrist. You know that feeling? When your stomach drops and the air gets real thick in your chest. That was me, moving on instinct. Diane jerked back, startled, and started walking toward the station store. And Marlene, well, she followed, yelling now about paying for her gas and manipulating the pump. I got to the door just in time to see Marlene shove Diane in the back. Not hard enough to knock her over, but enough to stagger her forward. That was it. That was the moment. I stepped between them, my voice low, tight, but deliberate. That's enough, Marlene. You need to step back. Now. Her eyes snapped to me like I was the villain in her soap opera. She's trying to rob me. That woman siphoned gas out of my car. I looked at her car. Beige Buick, mid-90s, hadn't moved. No sign of tampering. Not that there ever would be. You made that up. You grabbed my wife. You shoved her. You're going to stop talking now and wait right here, because if you dial 911 like I think you're about to, you're going to make the biggest mistake of your life. But of course, she did it anyway. She pulled out that antique flip phone she always kept in a leather holster. I swear, it looked like it came with a history degree, and started yelling into it about how a large, aggressive woman was attacking her at the gas station. By then, a small crowd had gathered. The clerk came outside. One guy even started recording. I told Diane to stay calm, stay close. We weren't leaving. Not now. When the officers arrived, sirens blazing, Marlene put on the performance of her life. Tears, shrieks, the whole "I'm a victim" show. Claimed Diane had assaulted her, that I threatened her, and that we tried to steal gas from her tank. But the cops, well, they weren't new. Sergeant Hill asked the right questions, took statements, and most importantly, asked the clerk about security footage. That footage, bless its grainy clarity, showed everything. Diane calmly filling her tank. Marlene approaching. The grab. The shove. No siphoning. No theft. Just a wild-eyed neighbor who couldn't handle seeing a black woman existing peacefully next to her. And when the truth started to click into place, I introduced myself properly. Full name. Business card. Told them I'd be filing a formal complaint, both criminal and civil. Explained the legal implications of a false police report, assault, and racial harassment in a public space. Sergeant Hill nodded slowly, taking notes. Said the DA might consider charges. But I knew better than to wait for the system to move. I drafted a demand letter the next morning. Not from my firm, this was personal. $5,000 in damages, written apology, and a no-contact agreement. Sent it certified mail. A week later, I got a response. A handwritten note on Synod stationery that read more like a manifesto than a rebuttal. She accused us of extortion, denied everything, and ended with the phrase, "God sees all." I suppose she meant that as a threat. I took it as permission. We filed in small claims first, knowing she'd either escalate or crumble. She escalated. Hired a lawyer who looked like he charged by the complaint, not the hour. They filed a motion to dismiss. It failed. Then came the deposition. Myra, bless her, was nervous but resolute. Our associate from the firm sat beside her. Marlene? She showed up in a cardigan 3 sizes too big, clinging to a handkerchief like it owed her rent. But once the questions began, the mask slipped. She admitted to calling 911 without evidence. Admitted she never saw Diane do anything to her car. When asked why she said those people, she stammered that it wasn't about race. By the time it ended, her attorney looked like he was already mentally negotiating the settlement. And we made it easy for him. $50,000. Public apology. No contact order enforceable by law. Or we proceed, and let a jury decide how much a lie like that is worth. She caved. The check arrived just before the court date. The apology letter came later, stiff, hollow, but complete. And a few weeks after that, her house went up for sale. Funny thing is, we didn't feel triumphant. Just settled. Like a weight had lifted off the whole street. Now, every time I drive past that quick fill, I think about how justice doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it's a slow process, built one document, one witness, one unshakable truth at a time. And if you ask me what I learned, I'd say this: silence is comfortable, until it isn't. And when someone crosses that line, when they threaten your family, twist the truth, and try to weaponize the system against you, then it's time to fight back. Calmly, legally, and with the full weight of truth behind you. So tell me this, folks, have you ever had a Marlene on your block? Someone who thought the law bent to their fear and entitlement? If you have, I want to hear your story. Drop it in the comments below. And if you believe in standing up the right way for dignity, for fairness, for what's right, go ahead and share this video. Because this isn't just about gas pumps and garden complaints. It's about the line we all have to draw when enough finally means enough.